Hello, this is Tony.
Good evening, Tony. It's Big Perm with Uncensored MMA online radio. How the hell are you, man?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Man,
I'm good.
I'm doing awesome, brother. I'm talking to a guy that I've watched fight for years. Hell, I lived in the Quad Cities when you were up there, man, and I was a big fan back in the day up to present, and just stoked to have the chance to talk to you tonight, man, and hear about what you got going on today, and maybe get a few stories from the past as well. Are you down?
Yeah. For sure. First of all, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. God, yeah, you talk about the Quad Cities, where it really all started for me. You know, I mean, I was back in UFC 14, but I was just a combat martial artist, and I don't want to say just. I mean, I had a lot of work put in to get to that point, you know, up until 1997. But really, it wasn't until, you know, I went to the Militich crew in Iowa that I really, you know, learned what wrestling was all about. High school wrestling, you know, was a far cry from what those Iowa boys get down with. And you know, that was really my trial by fire. It changed everything for me, you know. And
yeah, man. Well, listen, Tony, before we get going any further, man, I want to bring in my co-host. I got chilling with me here, Dave the Butcher Clifford. Dave, are you
Hey,
there?
Dave.
Hey, what's up, man? Tony, I really appreciate hearing some of these stories from the beginning. It seems Militich helped a lot of serious warriors get started, and you had mentioned that they do wrestling a whole lot different. Is that where you came from, was a wrestling background when you went to Iowa?
Honestly, no. I mean, I started in the, you know, in boxing, little boxing at the YCM, the YMCA locally over in the Boston area where I'm from, Winchester, Massachusetts. I was a YMCA a couple towns over, and they had a boxing and karate program. Didn't really get into the karate until later on, until my late teens. But about 13 years old, they had a little boxing, kickboxing program that I was kind of into, and it started from there. But and I wrestled a couple of years in high school. That's it. And at 155, and pleaded and fought with the coach every weekend. He goes, just go ahead and wrestle up a different weight class. I promised myself I was going to beat the captain at 155, who'd been wrestling like his whole life, you know, and I never beat him any Friday for wrestle off. But so I actually hated wrestling because I had to actually wrestle at 85. We had no 85 pounder, and I wrestled. All my wrestling was done at a weight class up. So I wrestled 1 year in high school. I go, wow, that was horrible. And all I did was get smashed on the bigger guys. So I actually
You're
had
probably the only guy on the team that was allowed to eat besides the heavyweights, huh?
Well, yeah, but I would starve myself still every Friday because I planned on beating the captain every Friday, and I did okay. And then he smashed me, but and then I would eat the next day. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you know, it was all right. It was all right, but it was one of those things where it made me have a Napoleon complex against bigger guys. So when the UFC came out in '93, you know, I wanted the no weight class. I was like, I want to fight the big guys, those bastards. I think that's because they probably smashed me up and down the floor of high school, you know. So
well, and how much of an influence, you know, for someone like you? I mean, a lot of the times when we talk to people, I mean, we've had some legends on the show. I mean, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, a lot of the guys we talk to are pretty new. I mean, they're younger guys. They're just getting started in Bellator or the UFC or the MFC, or we talk to the ladies from Invicta, and there's no background for them. So for you, how much did Royce Gracie and the fact that you watched a normal-looking dude just go out there and smash these big dudes, that's really what got it started for you, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure, because I was, like I said, I already wrestled a little bit. I was already throwing hands and feet as a kickboxer, so I understood. I mean, at that point, I'd never lost a street fight, and I was a really good martial artist. Like, you know, athletically, I could go into most dojos, and I was like, "What's up? You know, show me something new." You know what I mean? And but it was different from actually just going from a world-class wrestler, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like when I fought Kevin Jackson in the UFC in '97, I go, What's this guy? This guy can't wrestle me to death. I wrestled. I know what wrestlers can do. No. This guy moves so fast and spun behind me and took my back and was choking me out in 52 seconds, I was going, holy crap, and I was tapping out because I know when I'm caught. But, I figured I know too many martial arts in their entirety that I'm obviously still working on. But, it's one of those things where I thought my knowledge and my knowledge of things that he had no idea about were going to carry me through. And so I was combat martial artist versus, combat athlete. It's different, man. It's different. It's different. Like, you get guys that are fantastic martial artists, take it all the way back to Fred Eddish. You know what I mean? The original UFC's karate guy. But, it's just, and even we just mentioned Royce Gracie. He had fantastic conditioning for what was going on then, absolutely. But in this day and age, the way the fighters move now, the cross training is so different. They missed the whole time zone. There's been a whole, there's been 3 evolutions in the sport.
So for you, you were doing some boxing and stuff. Were you athletic in school? You said you wrestled. Were you an all-around athlete? Because if you're able to go into most any dojo, which obviously I've seen your career, I believe you. I know you're telling me the truth, that you could go anywhere and compete. How much raw athleticism did you rely on to become such a good martial artist?
A lot of it, but I'm a better than average athlete. I'd say I'm a very good athlete, not an excellent athlete, or some of these kids are amazing athletically, and
sure.
But I was always a way better student than everyone else, way better student, and I use that between athleticism and my learning curve. If you were a good coach, I was going to be as good as you as fast as possible. You know what I mean? A lot of our coaches were older, at that time, but it was one of those things where you absorb what they were showing you, whether it be one style or the other style, and that's oftentimes why, I tended to move on. You know what I mean? Because, and not necessarily that's all what the coach had to teach. It's what they had to offer me within their time frame or whatever. You know what I mean? And with my time frame, and so I had to, understand that, being with certain people, you know what, I'm going to be with this jiu-jitsu team. Okay, they're Machado. I'm going to be with them for 3 years. Okay, but you know what, I'm not going to live here forever. So I kind of I don't want to get started in their ranking system, but I'm on the mat with them every day for 3 years. You know what I mean? And it's just and I'm sporting the key and doing all that stuff, cruising my white belt, or they say, I just wear your judo belt or your karate black belt and just wear that. You know what I mean? But just roll with us, come in, and I was happy to do so. Las Vegas is very much like that, and I was in Vegas for 10 years, getting better at my striking and my jiu-jitsu. But really, that evolution between Milicic and now, the whole thing that stayed true is that grinding wrestling attitude, that staying on it. That I always had that inside me, but it got honed and got really detailed, and I understood it when I met, Matt Hughes, Jens Pulver. All these guys are savage little wrestlers, Jason Black, Ben Earwood, and of course, our patriarch,
Tony,
Matt Milicic.
I was looking at a picture that you posted on Facebook just not too long ago of the old crew at MFS, and I was looking at the guys. I'm like, man, there's Hughes and Lawler and Pulver and Sylvia, and there's Tony, and then there's Pat, and a few other guys that I didn't quite recognize. But, when I moved to the Quad Cities, I was so excited because that was like the mecca of MMA at the time.
Oh, for sure.
And as you said,
Team Extreme, that was Team Extreme, Monty Cox. Team Extreme, all the guys are still out of there, Monty Cox still manages the best guys,
For sure. And so that's kind of what I was wondering.
I announce his fighters a lot on the weekends.
What's that?
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
I'm a ring announcer on the weekends, and we bring up a couple of the promoters I deal with Monty for their pro fights, and he's got some killers, man.
Yeah, we were proud when Monty picked us up. That was the first thing. I was down in New Orleans with Monty. We had fought on a card down there, and right after 9/11, and we had to drive because the flights were all canceled, and it was like the next couple of days, so we had to drive down. They still had the fights go on and whatnot, and it was crazy because we were Tim Sylvia and I, that's when Monty Cox said, "Okay, I'll manage you guys." We were like, it was like getting picked up by the Dallas Cowboys or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Or the Lions, man. That's my team.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, were you ever part of those crazy tag team exhibitions that they had up there?
Yes.
You were. I couldn't remember who all was involved, man. I remember seeing a couple of them at Stars and Stripes, and man, they was us. I wish they would do that today. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, we had the tag team submission matches just because Monty had the Tuesday night fights and the Friday night fights and over at Stars and Stripes, and we would get in the ring. It would be like me, Tim Sylvia, and like Matt Hughes versus like Mark Hansen, Jens Pulver, and like Robbie Lawler. You know what I mean? And submission tournament, you gotta reach over. You can be like submitting your guy with a standing guillotine, walk him over the corner, tag your partner, and your partner could roll it under him for a heel hook. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or for like we were trying to hurt each other. But next thing you know, out of the crowd, someone would come running down, another teammate would come up running out of the crowd, just like pro wrestling. Next thing you know, there'd be 9 military guys in the ring and a huge submission ball. You know what I mean? Throwing each other around the ring and stuff like that. It was for the crowd and for each other to blow off some steam. So after practice and whatnot, go down there and get warm with the community.
Was my homeboy, and may he rest in peace. But was Big Papa Schnocky involved in any of those? Was he ever around for that?
Not during those. Not during those. Schnocky spent a lot of time on our couch and staying at our house. He was always doing the Extreme Challenges shows that Monty had, and he was always at our house. Always for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Back and forth. We did a lot back and forth to do shows. And he hung out with us a lot, and Schnocky's my brother for sure. And
he taught me a lot, bro.
Yeah, we a lot of good memories there. But when we started getting comfortable with Schnocky, it was out of control. One time we one time we
tell me a Schnocky story, Obi.
Yeah, we gave him niacin. Because he wasn't feeling well. We were going to take this to flush his system out. How do I need? We gave him like 5, and then the poor kid he turned bright red. He was itching all over. He's like, he had all his clothes off, and he's sitting on the toilet because he still of course had the flu, so he's sitting on the toilet with the run. Oh, love that kid. Love that kid, dude. Yeah.
Dude, every time
they got stories about me too. What's that?
Every time.
Well, Tony, I was talking with my producer, Chris.
Go ahead.
I was talking with Chris, our producer, about one of the guys from MFS back in the day, Jason Black. A tough cat out of the gym that never quite made it. Did you know Jason? Did you ever get a chance to train with him?
Oh my God! If it wasn't for, I got ping pong between Jason Black and Matt Hughes, for my wrestling life. For size-wise, like that. And Jason was one of the first kids that, threw me a bone, but in sheer disgust because he couldn't even watch me do it anymore. And when I first got to Milicic, I'm getting cauliflower ear every day for the first time. My nose is broken, deviated septum. I'm about to fight in 2 weeks. After, 5 weeks in, I'm about to have a fight. I'm supposed to be 85. I'm cutting down to 75. For catch weight just because I wanted to fight. And I'm on the floor looking up at the lights for like my first month. Every time we wrestle, I'm looking up. I'm like, my jiu-jitsu is so good. How can I be on my back? These kids could wrestle me and hold me down and then, hit me with an Americana or Kimura or, north-south choke. And I would see Jason Black. This is in the old racquetball court, the old racquetball room. Jason Black would be leaning against the wall. I remember looking up, seeing his sideburns and his curly hair, and then the lights, and the disgusted look on his face, because he's really watching everyone else, but because I'm struggling, right by his feet, every now and then he glanced down, and he glanced down and was like, hey man, you gotta get off your back, dude. And I was like, oh, I know, I can't. So he's like, you gotta get this underhook. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? And I'm dying over here. So he showed me, far side underhook, dude. Like, really? I'm like, oh, I just thought I was gonna hit him with like some jiu-jitsu submissions. You know what I mean? He's like, no, you gotta learn how to roll first, and then your submissions will come. You know what I mean? It's just a whole difference between, and at this point, through the 90s, I've been doing, big martial arts seminars, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be hated by the martial art world because I'm a martial artist, but there's a lot of, I could have killed you. You know what I mean? Especially with karate, you know what I mean? And some of the other striking martial arts that aren't Muay Thai or boxing, I consider those both martial arts, you know what I mean? And any serious martial artist considers boxing and wrestling a martial art, you know what I mean? And
it takes many years to perfect, and they are martial arts for sure.
Yeah,
wrestling.
And then it's ongoing. Like, oh my God, if I didn't have that understanding, then I'd be even so far behind now. But those years at Militich, I like the meat and potatoes is like, if I never see you again on the mat, I'm gonna make sure that time I see you, that you know how to friggin' pummel. You know how to pummel, infight basically, because that's what someone's gonna do if they're trying to friggin' punch you in the face, grab you and take you in the shadows and rape you, or do whatever you want. So they're gonna teach you that, oh my God, when they bear hug you, fool, you have underhooks, step around, hit a knee pinch, do whatever you want, you know what I mean? But, pop your hips, you have 2 underhooks most of the time when people grab you. Or if they grab you, know how to spin them off into traffic and let a taxi cab hit them, whatever you're going to do. But, you just got to know how to fight. And these basic things, are what I took away from Militich, and then just, created and evolved off that, I made it through, I like to say 4 evolutions of the sport between, the first split up of the weight class, and then, the Ultimate Fighter era, and then, things change into the, over the 100s, you know what I mean? And then I just came back into a whole new segment, after basically UFC 150. I came back to my 42nd birthday, weighed in at what I weighed in high school at 155.6 in Bellator, one of the largest shows in the world, in the sport.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Kind of what I was wanting to do was, I was just going to say, that's what I wanted to do was kind of, since you were talking about teaching and now Bellator, is just kind of fast forward to present day. And I think Dave was on the same train as me. I know you just fought at Bellator 94 back, I think, March 29th, I think it was, 28th, 29th?
28th, so a month out from me today, yeah.
Yeah, and you're also doing some coaching out there at the UFC gym in Torrance.
Yep.
So I just wanted to ask if the Bellator deal, was that a one-fight deal or a multi-fight deal? Will we see you in the Bellator cage again?
I have a multi-fight deal. I'll tell you what, I retired through injuries. Those injuries are not healed. But due to the weight difference, and the fact that I've had a lot of time just doing functional strength training and living out of the weight room and not competing and trying, and the sport's changed. So I know, I was at the end of my career, I was trying to be a welterweight. I realize now the whole time I should have been a lightweight. Should have been 55 the whole time. But I was swole back then. I loved being in the gym still. You know what I mean? All I did was, eat Celtec and Myoplex shakes back then, and eat, the extra value meals. So I put on, I ate like a football player, and bodybuilder at the same time to keep that weight on. But I was pretty lean all the time. But I had to cut 6 to 10 pounds to make 85, and I actually thought I was struggling. But now my diet got cleaned up, and everything over the past few years, just staying healthy and staying fit back to my Bruce Lee mentality ways. Like, let's be lean and fit again. Like before I started the UFC, I was just like speed kills, all that stuff, which has always been my thing. But like I said, once again, at Militich, no one really wanted to fill that 185 spot. So when I got invited to Iowa, it's because Pat said, hey, we got an opening at 185. You want to come up there? And that's kind of what it was like back then. They still kind of had that wrestling roster mentality. There's only 8 of us in the racquetball court.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Or 8 of them. So then I showed up with some other newbies that have slowly started to grow. But, you know, that's when, you know, the 4 horsemen were there, you know. Militich, Horn, Pulver, Hughes, and then, you know, guys like Jason Black were, you know, the supporting cast, you know, all first string, amazing dudes, you know, Ben Earwood. These are all like I always call myself the Frankenstein monster because people call me the freak, you know, I call myself the Frankenstein monster because all these guys were like coaches to me. I just sponged up everything. I was a little bit of Matt Hughes, a little bit of Pulver, a lot of Militich, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I have Jason Black's north-south chokes, you know, 6 different ways to Sunday now. But he's the one who showed me the gateway. You know what I mean? And you know, just a lot of things like that. You know, knowing how to hand fight and just how to be a nasty, like heavy on the head. Oh, you wrestle Midwest, huh? Well, I can tell. All you do is go heavy on the head. I go, well, why am I breaking you down so easily? You know what I mean? I'm horsing you.
Yeah.
You know, that's when people that don't necessarily do it. You know what I mean? But a compliment to me is when people go, damn, coach, where did you wrestle in college? And I go, you know what? I didn't. I was taught to wrestle by some of the best guys, though, and I'm a really good student. You know what I mean? And that's always been like, you know, do what I say, not what I do. I still have a lot of performance anxiety when I get in the cage. I didn't spar because of a lot of the injuries I have because of wrestling and stuff like that. I think I sparred like 2 rounds, like 4 weeks after the fight, and then just because I amp out and I'm a striker who really shouldn't be kicking too much anymore because of my knee injuries and stuff like that. But you know what? But in training I do. But when I spar, it could lead to trouble. So I figured I'd get to the fight instead, healthy, and just box and wrestle. I've been working on my wrestling for the last 7 years since I've been retired. And that's my MMA wrestling. So, and I've seen very few people, you know, transition the way I do with my strikes and my wrestling and things like that, just off things I've been taught and as a come up striker grappler, just how to transition stuff and mesh it together properly. But not having done the timing aspect of it, the live wrestling, I did drilling and cardio. I did drilling and strength and conditioning and some mitt work, very little mitt work. So when it came down to it, and I went on ego. I said, you know what, I'm going to come in. This kid's 9-2. He got 9 knockouts. So I'm going to put him on his back. I'm going to submit him in the first round. And but I'm definitely not going to take damage from this kid. I'm going to be all the way in or all the way out. But then in the locker room, I realized that I started throwing, you know, there goes a lead leg, you know, skip kick to the liver. Next thing you know, I'm about to throw an axe kick. And, you know, me and the coach I'm working with, we're like, hey, whoa, hey, you're not throwing kicks. What are you doing? Keep on the floor. But that was me in years of training. That's 30 years of training going, dude, you're about to go live. Do what's best for you and start doing what we're showing you right now. And I squashed it. I quelled it. So, like, when I shut that down in the locker room, you know, it's one of those things, you know, I went into camp at my strongest, great and as far as kicking, and I got in great shape during camp. It was awesome. I eliminated that one element that gets my timing and my rhythm. I've been a kickboxer since I've been 13 years old. I've been a kickboxer, so it's like, you know, I messed myself up, you know, but you know, I've never had a game plan because at Militich we feel that when you can do everything, you should be able to see everything, and it's a reaction game. Boxers don't have a game plan necessarily, except for, yes, establish the jab, do these, do this. But it's not, when he punches you, you slip to this way and then do that. It's a reaction thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, I relied on very, very exact maneuvers in drill form, and I didn't get the live work and because of what I was afraid I'd overdo it. Because my thing was no one ever beats me in training, so I didn't want to be going over to Black House, which would add the invite over there to go train with the boys over there. And I thanked them for that. It's one of those things like, I'm going to have a pissing match with one of these younger kids. I'm not even going to be able to get to the fight. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be end up going live, and my knee's going to buckle or whatever. And I just want to get to the fight safely, and I'm probably going to kick the shit out of anyone because I've been doing this longer, my knowledge, everything. My timing was so bad, and what happened in the locker room I just told you, but when my timing was so bad, I hopped in the ring, and I went, holy shit. And I was glitching on what, I'm always such a good student. I wanted to do exactly what Coach said to do.
Right.
But my body wanted to do something different. I didn't do any of it, and I froze, and all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. And literally 30 seconds into the fight, I was out on my feet. I couldn't see out of my left eye because the vision got knocked out right away. Then the eye shut because of swelling. But I couldn't see at all. I was out on my feet. And I could see out of my right eye only, and that's a minute into the fight. So I was like, holy crap. So my wrestling was disgusting.
You went the distance, bro. I mean, damn.
Well, that's because Coach got me in great cardio conditioning. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's elements that I need to put into it, which is, if I can't handle, I'll go into camp. I'll go into camp fresh, you know what I mean, in shape. I just need to know that I got to pull a Sergio Martinez, the boxer. I got to get in there, at least 4 rounds a week. You know what I mean? Maybe I just spar once a week, but I just got to get him in there because what happens is my skill never came out. I come out bouncing. I've been bouncing since the old days, and I pride myself in De La Hoya and Shane Mosley and Vinny Pazian and Pernell Whitaker, guys like that. Man,
he's the shit.
Yeah.
Judah's got a fight coming up, dude. What do you think about that?
What's that?
Zab Judah's got a fight coming up, dude.
I know it. Yeah, these guys.
I can't fucking wait.
I came up watching these guys. Yeah. So Martinez just fought the other night too, actually.
I know it, man. That was.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I know that the timing was so poor and this kid's reach and everything like that, and it's just a matter of trusting my partners. And it's one of those things where I didn't want to go into someone else's gym and go, oh, there's Tony Fryklund. Oh, you think he's coming out of retirement? Whatever, I'll show him. And next thing you know, I mean, I'm not gonna let someone beat me in the room, but I'll probably going too hard and preventing that. You know what I mean? Oh, there goes an injury or something like that, and I was like, I don't need that. And everyone around me is going, hey, Tony, take it easy when you train. We know how you are. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna spar. I don't need it. I'm gonna flick a jab, shoot it on this kid, and no problem. But I came out, my feet glued to the floor. I mean, the best part of my fight was 2 hours before when I warmed up by myself in the cage. Oh, I was looking sweet. I felt like I was gonna be sweet. you know what I mean? I was like, holy shit, dude, I'm gliding right now. I'm gliding.
So Tony,
everything is on point.
Any word on the next opponent or when that might happen?
It's one of those things. Like today's exactly a month out. I just let my face heal. Like I couldn't even do like a push-up for a couple weeks just because I had so much pressure on my face. And I had a couple of little facial.
I saw the pics, man.
Yeah. So that wasn't pretty, but everything's straight now, and I just want to add those other elements in there, and then I'd like to get back in there because to me it's about redemption. It's all about me in the first place. I want to do what I coach my young kids to do because these young kids, some of my young kids walk through people with the shit that I'm showing them, but that I've never pulled off. I just know that this works, and this works, this works, and I'm getting better at it too. Like I'm my own student, and I'm like, damn, why doesn't this guy perform? Like I yell at myself. I go, come on, kid, get with it. This is what you're doing wrong. This is what you're doing wrong. So I really don't have other coaches with my experience level in MMA. Okay, and that's the problem. Greg Jackson's got Mike Winklejohn, all these people, but not one of them has the experience in MMA, like a Matt Hume or a Pat Miletich or these guys, or myself for that matter. And that's why, I gotta trust myself still to coach myself. I just still need to surround myself with some sort of support system in the team because I can't do it myself.
Well, and
but
I got a couple things along the way here that I wanted to touch on. When you were speaking about diet, and we actually have a brand new sponsor of the show, Dr. Frank Patino of PatinoDiet.com. What do you do for diet? I mean, what's your regimen consist of? Because obviously you're in great shape, dude. How many fucking people can say that their coach has fought as many times as you and still fights, dude? I mean, you can impart direct knowledge to these youngsters or whatever age people that you're training now. That's pretty sweet, huh?
Right, and that's the thing is honestly, I try and lead by example, and that's not by going out there and getting my face handed to me, my ass handed to me, but it's like, oh my God, there's so much opportunity for you young kids out here. Like, you use me as a measuring stick. Like, you have to work at least as hard as I am. I'm a retired 42-year-old guy that can get in shape. In 3 weeks, I can be in fight shape and ready to fight anyone they put in front of me. You know what I mean? And, I can't do the same stuff. Or should I? See, the thing is, I think I can. I just got to make sure I do it safely. I get there. If I'm in the ring, I'll throw a caution to win and just let it happen. But I need the time and I need the training getting it there. But for my students, I'm like, hey, I'm lighting the fire under your asses, saying, some of you guys are right at that edge. Some of you guys are, have been in Bellator. And, and I got a couple guys taking breaks and things like that. And now they're just coming out of their little thing because I think I re-motivated some of these guys. And just, I hope I motivate some of the younger kids to look, the old crews are still staying in there for a reason because the knowledge is there and the fitness and the nutrition is there. And that's really what it is, eating the right stuff. Christoph,
and what do you do?
What's that?
What's your diet? Go ahead.
For me, really, it's, I wake up, I have my eggs, my egg whites, and my greens. It's spinach, kale, broccoli, all in, ridiculous. Takes me a friggin' half hour to eat bowl of, eggs and egg whites and greens. You know what I mean? And I usually have a couple pieces of whole wheat toast. And if I'm feeling fat, I'll have a which I don't when I eat like this, but if I feel like I want some extra calories, I'll eat half an avocado right there. Boom. Or the whole thing. Boom. So I know it's like my morning, my breakfast. And then
I love avocados, dude. I eat the fuckers all the time.
Yeah, they're so good for you too, like a superfruit, And then I have my recovery shake, my first round stuff, and then I have my second, recovery shake. I go home, I eat, and what I eat, is chicken, and I cut out a lot of the rice, but I'd have some white and brown rice mixed for lunch. But even that chicken or fish for lunch with asparagus or broccoli or something like that, steamed, or cooked just with coconut oil, in the pan. A little bit of Mrs. Dash on there. And then, things like dinner, but I get comfortable eating the same thing. I eat almond butter when I'm dieting, coconut oil.
So what I'm getting here, we're getting kind of close to the end. So what I'm getting here from you is that you are one of the first and continuing true hybrid, not even hybrid, but multifaceted mixed martial artists. So you have developed your own style of fighting. You've developed your own style of training. You've developed your own style of dieting and motivation. What do you call it? I mean, how can people get a hold of you? And, why don't you give us a little bit of contact info, because I'm sure some of our listeners are wanting to know about this. Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's American Free Fight Mixed Martial Arts. American Free Fight Mixed Martial Arts. You can find us on Captain Fights, CaptainFights.com. And that's like my partner, my main sponsor, Derek Himmick. And he's actually one of my students, one of my fighters in King of the Cage. He's a family man.
Terry?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So yeah, I mean, our guys all over, like our Bellator. Yep.
Tell the butcher said what up.
I will.
Seriously, he'll get a grin out of that one. Believe me.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Obi.
No. So we got we have people all over, and let's go to CaptainFights.com, and that's where you can find all the information. Like we have shorts, T-shirts. We're starting to put more content up there for video and technique. You can become a black belt member. There's certain things you got to do. It's all listed there. Of course, you got to see us. We can't just poof over the internet, of course. So it's kind of like a hands-on training thing, but it's good. Even my students here are able to go up online and check stuff out and see what they're learning for the day and see what they're learning next week. If that's the level that they're on. So it's pretty interactive, and we have a great time with it. And the students are getting better because that way they're able to see it, touch it, and train it at the same time. You know what I mean? So it works really well.
Well, absolutely. And we just heard the bell a moment ago, and that means we got just a couple of minutes. So before I turn it over to Perm, I got a fun question for you, since you're already a little bit familiar with it anyway. If there was a if you could do a tag team MMA match, open weight, who would you pick as your partner, and who would you want to face?
Tag team MMA match. I'm gonna pick my partner. Okay, well, easy. I'm gonna pick Matt Hughes as my partner.
Good call.
Yep. And who are we gonna face?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd say, well, I don't really have any rivals, so I'd just say, I'd say Chuck Liddell and his brother Danny, just because Matt and the two of them rather, coming up in Militich when they would take me to their fights down in the MGM Grand or whatever, and the Liddell boys would always be in this rivalry with the Hughes brothers. They'd always be attacking each other and jumping out of elevators and bear hugging each other and wrestling in the hallways. And I remember they even made these T-shirts with Matt on the front of their T-shirts, and they wore them to the weigh-in. And Matt's like, "You son of a, I'm gonna get you," So it's always one of those things. So I partner with Matt and hopefully help him get a little vindication against them. So that'd be pretty cool.
That's awesome. What an answer. Go ahead, Big Perm. You can close her out, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, just a few minutes ago, you mentioned your website, and I just wanted to give you this last few minutes that we got to thank any sponsors, and again, throw that website out there for people and let folks know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. Well, you can reach me at the Fryklund at yahoo.com, and you can reach American Free Fight information on CaptainFights.com. And that's located out of Las Vegas. I'm over here in California, but that's where we do all our business out of still. Although the main epicenter travels with me. And I'd just like to thank UFC Jim Torrance, all the UFC gyms, and Wusu Gear, and Throwdown Industries, and bodybuilding.com. And Alienware, and Sucker Punch Entertainment.
Right on. Well, Tony, I think for me, my co-host Dave, and of course our producer Chris Maltsburger, we want to say thanks to you, brother, for taking the time tonight to chat with us, and also for giving us some great entertaining fights over the years, man.
Awesome. I appreciate
everything you've done for the sport, man. I really do.
Great, man. Thank you so much. Anytime. I'll talk to you guys soon, I hope.
All right, Tony, you be well, brother, and take care. Have a good night, man.
Okay. Take care.
See ya.